We previously discussed how you can explore OONI measurements through the search tool. But in addition to the search tool, you can also gain an overview of OONI measurement coverage in every country around the world through the Countries page. Remember, OONI measurements span from 240 countries and territories around the world all the way back from 2012 to date. So there's a lot of measurements to explore per country. To examine an overview of OONI measurement coverage per country, start off by clicking on Countries on the top right menu. This will present the OONI Explorer country pages, where you have many different countries from all around the world, specifically 240 countries and territories. What you can see for each country is that under the country name, we have listed the relevant number of OONI measurements. You can think of an OONI measurement as an individual OONI probe test result. So in a country like Algeria, where more than 822,000 measurements have been collected, this means that more than 822,000 OONI probe test results have been contributed from OONI probe users in Algeria. And as you scroll down, you can compare the measurement coverage from country to country. You can really see from a bird's eye view that OONI measurement coverage really greatly differs from one country to the other. For example, in Egypt, we can see that we have more than 3 million measurements, whereas in countries like Eritrea, there are only 11 measurements. The reason why measurement coverage varies from country to country is because the types of measurements that we have greatly depend on whether OONI probe users in the country run tests, how frequently they run tests, what types of tests they run, and so on. In some countries, maybe there's a bigger OONI community, and so there's more people running OONI probe tests on a more regular basis, whereas in other cases, maybe there are fewer OONI probe users who run tests more sporadically. As a result of this, OONI measurement coverage really differs from country to country. The reason why I highlight this is because measurement coverage really matters in order to be able to determine and to examine internet censorship over time, but also to be able to confirm censorship. In other words, the more measurements we have from a specific network, the greater our confidence in confirming a potential case of blocking. Moreover, if we have regular measurements every day over a long period of time, that enables us to examine how censorship potentially changes over time in that country, particularly in correlation with other events, such as political events, which often trigger censorship events. You can navigate through these countries through the continents listed on top. For example, if you click on Asia, it will take you to the relevant section. Same if you click on Europe or any other continents. If you would like to limit your search to a specific country, you can go to the Search for Country section and type the country you want to explore. Let's assume we want to look at Iran. We'll type Iran, and now we have Iran here, where we can see that more than 7 million measurements have been contributed over the years. We can click on Iran to then access the country page for Iran. On every country page, we start off by presenting an overview of the relevant measurement coverage. In this case, we can see that in Iran, OONI probe users have collected more than 7 million measurements from 236 different networks. This information is important because it gives us an idea that there's a lot of data to work with, enabling us to potentially explore many different forms of internet censorship. If you scroll further down, we present a chart that is automatically updated based on the measurement coverage in Iran. Specifically, this chart lists measurement coverage based on the various categories of tests that OONI probe provides. If you remember from the OONI probe app, There are cards based on websites, instant messaging apps, mailboxes, performance tests, and circumvention tools. And so the measurement coverage that you see in this chart is based on the OONI probe testing from each of these categories. For example, if we click on websites, we will deselect it, and then we can only see the measurement coverage for the other categories. Similarly, if we click on any other category. Practically, this is useful because, for example, if we're interested in examining website blocking in Iran, it's useful to know if many measurements are collected on an ongoing basis. In this case, we can see that many measurements are collected from the testing of websites in Iran every day over a long period of time. This helps increase our confidence in not only examining potential cases of website blocking, but also confirming them. If, on the other hand, in a different country, we were to see that very few measurements were collected from a specific category, or that there were holes in the data in the sense that tests were not run regularly, this would limit our ability and our findings to examine internet censorship. If you scroll further down in the country page, you will then see a section on research reports. These are research reports that the OONI team have published based on the analysis of OONI data from that country. So in this case, we can see research reports that OONI has published based on the analysis of OONI data collected from Iran. Every time new research reports are published based on analysis of data from a country, that report will show up in this section. If for a country you do not see any research reports listed in the section, that is because we have not analyzed OONI data from that country yet, or that we haven't published a research report based on the analysis of OONI data from that country. However, as you know, OONI data is all openly available, and we encourage you to analyze the data and publish research reports as well. Scrolling down, we then present an overview of measurement findings from the country based on the various categories, specifically based on the testing of websites, and then further below based on the testing of apps. In the website section, what we can see are some of the websites that were most recently confirmed blocked in Iran. So these are some of the most recently confirmed blocked websites, which also include the Farsi version of Wikinews. What you can see in the chart next to every tested website is the measurement coverage that it has received. And so if we hover over here, we can see that Quora.com was found confirmed blocked 35 times on the 3rd of September, on the 9th of March in 2022. If you're interested in exploring the actual data pertaining to the testing of this website, beyond just viewing some aggregate stats in the graphs, you can click on Explore More Measurements to access the measurements pertaining to the testing of that specific website. What is worth mentioning is that on the top here, you can see that these measurements are coming from one very specific network in Iran, where on this network we can see that many different types of tests have been performed. By default, OONI Explorer will show the websites that are confirmed blocked based on the network where we have the highest testing coverage. But you can change this by clicking on this filter and selecting a different network. And once you select a different network, we will then automatically plot the relevant charts based on the testing coverage of that website. One thing that is worth highlighting is that the confirmed blocked websites will only appear in country pages where in those countries we are able to automatically confirm the blocking of websites. Based on our current methodologies, we are only able to automatically confirm the blocking of websites if a specific ISP serves a block page and we have added the fingerprint of that block page to our database. We also automatically confirm the blocking of websites when an IP address is returned, which is known to be associated with implementing internet censorship. This is just to say that these are not the only websites that are confirmed blocked in Iran. There may be other websites that are also blocked, but which would be available under anomalous measurements in the search tool, as opposed to be presented here. In countries where ISPs adopt different censorship techniques, where they don't present a block page and therefore limit our ability to automatically confirm blocking, where, for example, maybe they implement DNS-based tampering, or maybe they implement IP blocks. In those cases, under the website section of the country page, you would instead see relevant measurement coverage based on some of the most frequently tested websites. To explore blocked websites for those countries, we recommend referring to the search tool and filtering the measurements based on anomalies. If you scroll further down, we then present testing coverage based on the different apps that are tested in the country. So these are categorized based on instant messaging and circumvention tools. And if you expand upon these, you will get graphs based on the testing coverage of each tool, where the networks that are listed first are the networks which have received the highest volume of testing coverage. So in this example, what we can see is that in Iran, Facebook Messenger has been tested the most on this network in recent times, and we can see how the testing coverage of Facebook Messenger varies over time on this network in Iran. You can also similarly explore this for other networks and click on Show More to explore all the other networks in Iran. To access the relevant data pertaining to the testing of Facebook Messenger on this specific network in Iran, you can click on Explore More Measurements to access the raw measurement data. Similarly, you can do the same for the testing of all other apps, such as for the testing of the Signal app, where we can see graphs based on the testing coverage on an AS level. And the same also by expanding for Telegram and by expanding subsequently for WhatsApp. And similarly, we can also explore some key stats from the testing of Tor on various different networks in Iran. So overall, in summary, the OONI Explorer country pages provide you an overview of how much OONI measurement coverage is coming from that country. In other words, how many tests are run on an ongoing basis from that country based on many different types of OONI probe tests. If available, we present relevant research reports, and if they implement censorship in a way where we're able to automatically confirm the blocking, we present those websites with a relevant measurement coverage.